we have prepared for you an overview of MadLearn for students around the globe. I am most passionate about the potential to reinvigorate our most vulnerable constituents, affording them the opportunity to learn content with today's tools, especially in the ability to collaborate with their peers. Currently, the majority of our students are from privileged schools and communities. We want to be able to do something about that. As I was saying, currently our students are from privileged schools and communities, and we would like the gift of MadLearn to be available for all students. You will hear the vision from our CEO and founder, Alethea Bhatia. Vicki Davis, founder of @CoolCatTeacher on Twitter and co-founder of Mad About Mattering, will share her experience of global collaboration as a whole and the joy of Mad About Mattering. We will also be joined by Dr. Lisa Durf, our best cheerleader, and Doreen Banjua, the project manager of our global collaboration app project, Mad About Mattering. I'm really hoping we have enough time to brag about students around the world collaboratively building apps asynchronously. We have reserved time at the end of the presentation for questions. Manish Sharma, our product manager in Delhi, is online as well for the technical questions. Thank you again for your attention, and I am turning it over to Alethea.
Thank you. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here today, and welcome everybody. Good morning. Happy Global Collaboration Day. We're excited to kick off the morning with our first webinar today, and there are many. I think that the last count I saw, there's probably around 50 other events happening throughout the day. If you are interested in other global collaboration events, please do check out their website. And if we can, maybe Lisa, if you can post that link into the chat where others can find out events that are happening around the world today on Global Collaboration Day. So we wanted to share with you a little bit about MadLearn and the work that we've been doing with Vicki over the last couple of years. MAD stands for Mobile App Development, but we are so much more than that to students around the world. We are in 31 states and 5 countries internationally. And to this little girl at the top left of the screen, we are an opportunity for her to present at a conference about a bullying app that she built because it was something she felt passionately about that needed to be addressed. And her app is Bullying is Breakable, how to prevent and stop bullying. And she had an opportunity to present to over 3,000 people at a conference up in Canada. To these 2 little girls at the bottom left of the screen, we are an opportunity to have their creative side shine. They created an app called Ducky Tape, where they showed us how to create all kinds of things, from coasters to purses to covers for your laptop with Ducky Tape. And they learned how to take videos of themselves, how to teach people virtually to create things with Ducky Tape or duct tape. And they're the winners of a Shark Tank that their school held, and their app will hopefully be published very soon. To this teacher on the bottom right here, we are an opportunity for him to shift his paradigm from a traditional way of teaching history to now saying that I can't teach history without app development, because my kids were so engaged and so involved in the process. They learned and understood and retained much more than they ever have in the past. And his students actually created an app called Two Voices, which is understanding the Holocaust from the lens of a 12-year-old girl or a 42-year-old man. And it's a wonderful, powerful app that the students, 7th grade students, created as a group, and it was a powerful, powerful tool. And the middle here, this is a screen of all of us. And if you joined a little bit earlier, you saw the Brady Bunch view of all of us joined the meeting today. And this was our collaboration, Mad About Mattering collaboration, just this past year, where we had 10 schools from 5 different countries who participated in having teachers meet weekly, having students meet virtually, and build their apps together across borders. And that is the focus of what we're going to be talking about today. So we're very excited. I wanted to share with you a little bit about our vision at MadLearn. We are very much focused on the overall concepts and the process of product development, and enabling students to have, to broaden their vision from what may be this to a larger perspective of the world, from understanding how to do ideation and planning and design to building the app itself and even launching launching and pitching it at various Shark Tanks. And a dear friend and mentor and advisor to us, former Mad Learn teacher, said this to us, and we wanted to just share it with you. She said, this is Julian Reed. She said, students really want to make a difference in this world. And they want to be creating content and not just publishing it locally, but even getting a global audience. When we look at what Mad Learn is doing with their mobile app development, it's not just here's how to make an app, here's step 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the process where most of that learning is taking place. And that process is what we're excited to share with you today. A couple quick things in terms of a reality check, and many of us know this already, but I just wanted to share some quick statistics with you. A third of our students here in the United States have school-issued mobile devices. And even if they're not school-issued, 35% of elementary, 60% of middle, and 80% of high school students have their own smartphones. So the trouble is not with the devices. We have the devices, we're using the devices, but our goal is to figure out how we can have students be creators for those on those devices and really shift that mindset to not just using those tools, but to really creating it. This is a video here that we can, Doreen, if you can maybe post that into the chat. This is a video where students and teachers and administrators are talking about their work with app development and the impact that has had on their work and on their experiences. We'd love for you to watch it when you have a few minutes. One of the things that we focus on heavily here at Mad Learn is understanding that code is not everything. Code is one piece of the pie. And we're a technology company ourselves, and any technology company in the world, you will see that coding and coders, your developers, are a part of your team. They're not all of it. And while there has been a heavy emphasis on coding in K-12, especially in the last few years, which is good, and it's a very good thing, we want to help our students and our teachers realize that there's multiple slices of that pie, and some students may be interested in one slice or another, and we'd like to expose students to all of that in order to help them understand what they're truly interested and engaged in. We have on our team, for example, we have product ideation folks, we have designers, we have coders, we have testers, we have marketers and sales and customer support and success. There's so many pieces that come together to make a phenomenal technology product and company, and that's what we want to expose kids to in multiple different ways. So we are here at Mad Learn enabling K-12 students to have passion-driven career choices that are led through the exposure to different fields early on in their lives. Through a focus on mobile technology and mobile app development, we're empowering student appreneurs, not just entrepreneurs. And what's been so exciting in the last few years, and especially through the leadership and the amazing innovation of Vicki, we've been able to do that in a global capacity. So I do want to hand over to Vicki at this point to share with us a little bit about how our vision came to be with Mad About Mattering and what that has been over the last few years.
Okay, so just a little bit of history. The very first project actually was in 2015, just my students. We tried to see, we took 4 periods of kids, and we tried to see, could kids actually build apps and not be in class at the same time? Then in 2016, we had 5 teachers and 300 students, and we wanted to see, could we collaboratively build apps? Now, I had been doing global collaboration for at least 10 years with many amazing teachers around the world. And so, in Flat Classroom Project, we collaborated on videos and wikis. Well, in this, remember, they're not only making an app, but they're creating a marketing campaign. They're doing websites. They are creating all kinds of things. They're creating videos. So it's actually collaboration at every level. In some ways, they're almost like making their own little company because they have an app team that they're creating. So in 2016, we weren't even really sure if it could happen and if we could do it, but it worked out very well, and that was the Alpha project. And then we did the Beta project. And you can see from the screen of the participating teachers that our Beta project encompassed many, many more students, many, many more countries. And what I love about it, I know, Kimberly, you spoke at the beginning and you talked about diversity, is that you cannot categorize any of these schools as one category. We have public, we have private, we have parochial. We have every single type of socioeconomic background collaborating together to make apps, and it makes for a much more powerful project, because here's the thing: no matter the diversity of your school, in some ways your school is homogeneous. In some ways your school is its own little ecosystem, and your kids are going to think that every school in the world is just like yours if you don't collaborate with schools that are different. So we've had keynote speakers, we've had Angela Myers, we had Kevin Honeycutt, not sure who this year's going to be, and they kind of start off with casting this vision of global collaboration. If you want to flip to the next slide there.
Perfect. So Vicki left off where we were looking at the way that we actually build our students and our community together. The last 2 years we used a wiki. We may actually be using a different tool this year, and we're looking at all kinds of new technologies that exist that can enable us to do this. But in 2016 and 2017, we had a wiki where students were added to the wiki, and that was their mode of communication with each other. And then as they continued to do their research and build their teams and start to build their apps, they moved on to our MathLearn tool as well. So very, very exciting for students to be able to have an exposure to using global collaborative tools like wikis, project management tools like Trello or Asana, app development tools like MathLearn, so on and so forth. So it was a wonderful experience for our kids. Just last year, we had kids all over the world. We had Australia, we had our project manager who's here from Ghana, we had a school in Paraguay, Canada, and the US, and learn about other perspectives and other thought processes.
But here's the guiding question, and all of this started with a conversation that Angela Myers and Alethea and I had about making sure not only that kids were coding, but making sure that they were making apps that mattered. Making sure they were doing work that matters, because we are sick and tired of wastebasket work. If you're just doing work because the teacher wants you to create an assignment and they want you to do this and they want to check off some things or jump through some hoops like some dog training act, that's not what school's supposed to be about. It's supposed to do things that change the world. And so our guiding question this past year is, how can you meet a need by developing an app that matters to our world? And everything we did, we said, okay, does this matter? Is this important? Will this piece of the app, will this functionality matter to someone? We can go to the next slide there. So here's the project aims. And I think it's real important for those of you listening who are going to be participating all day, is when you look at a global collaborative app project, and I wrote a lot about this in the book I co-authored with Julie Lindsay, Flattening Classrooms, Engaging Minds, is be crystal clear on your project aims. There are a lot of projects that sound great, but you need to know exactly what you're going to be accomplishing. So number one, we want to help the students make the world a better place by tackling problems that matter. This is called social entrepreneurship. We actually talk about this. Number two, we want students to be collaborative leaders. Now, there are those who do global collaboration who want to make everything easy for students and make everybody participate right out of the bat and just make everything perfect. But the fact is that collaboration is very imperfect and it requires leadership. And if you don't participate online, you don't exist. You are literally invisible if you don't contribute and participate. So we want our students to be collaborative leaders and to learn what it means to take the virtual ball and run with it and with others. You're welcome to go to the wiki. I don't know if Lisa Durf wants to throw the wiki link in there, but you can look at the wiki, you can look at the website, you can see all that we've done and apply it to other projects, because we want to be transparent and helpful to others. But it's all about doing work that matters. We teachers, we don't want to waste a year. So here's how it works. Right now, actually, we're in the process of identifying cohort teachers and student groups. That happens in the fall of the year. We start with a project wiki. That's kind of where our handshakes happen. We make sure the students join, and then they start mapping their heartbreak and that there are things that they want to accomplish. For example, the second winning app this year was called Brave, and it was how to help kids be brave and defining bravery and giving examples of bravery. Our number one app was about, I believe it was about the schools and helping students do better in school. So it was a positive thing. It was less, heartbreak. So we actually do heartbeat mapping, and kids start talking about, this makes my heart beat. This is exciting to me. Then we divide up into teams. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we start creating the apps. And then there is voting. In the international voting in phase 1, people vote all over the world. Educators vote all over the world. And then we pick the top, because we can't take 12 to 15 apps and do a live presentation. It would just be so much. So we take the top 5 and they present in online classroom. And we've had judges in the past from Amazon, Microsoft, Google, lots of places from around the world who've helped judge. So the big thing, though, with any global collaborative project is you want to start off with a handshake. You want to help people know that there's really somebody there. So we record virtual handshakes with video. And it's to try to help you get to know the other schools and realize that there's a real person, because believe it or not, kids, even though they're collaborating and they see the name of another child on there, they don't really know that child is a real person until they see that child. And even then, it takes a while to make it real. This year, we're going to be adding some more handshake opportunities for kids so they can really understand that that is another person there on the other side of the world. And then we do this wonderful thing called red light, yellow light, green light. And this is not the children's game. But instead of saying yes and no, what we do is the kids create their app pitch for us as the leaders. And there's all of us teachers plus all the Mad Learn people. And the folks at Mad Learn, they look at the app proposal to say, okay, can this be made in our tool? And the teachers, we kind of look at it to say, okay, have they really thought through this whole process? Now, most of the time, most of the apps end up with a yellow light. Yellow light means that you've got some things to fix before you can get the green light. In fact, I cannot remember of one team that has ever been green lighted immediately. It's pretty much always yellow light. So we say, okay, this is a yellow light team. This is a green light. It's very rare that we red light. Red light means that production has ceased on this team. I will say this, typically the students red light themselves. So they'll say, we're gonna red light this team. We wanna join over with this team over here because it's like what we do. So this really makes it student driven. It's important, and I know Kimberly kind of mentioned this at the beginning, to make it more student centered, to make it more student driven. And by using green light, yellow light, red light, you can make it more student driven because they are saying, okay, you know, the adults on the project, we're the ones who can green light it, but the students can red light it if they want to, and they can make changes so they can earn the green light. And it's just a powerful experience. Now, it actually takes about 2 weeks to green light all the teams. So some teams will go into production before other teams will. And that's kind of like the real world. And I love this part of the process. It just really works very well. And then you can see the Trello board here. We use a collaborative tool, and you can see here that they've kind of organized their work. They self-organize. We have project managers and assistant project managers for every single team, and we actually teach Agile software development, which is a technique used by Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, because we're not just doing this project just to be warm and fuzzy and happy. We're doing it because we want our students to be on the leading, bleeding edge. We want them to understand Silicon Valley. We want them to operate like they're in Silicon Valley, and they can graduate from high school having already made an app, having already led a collaborative team. They understand Agile software development. They understand the process of creating development. And I will tell you this, our first team of kids from the very first Mad About Mattering project that we did 3 years ago graduated last year, and they had more scholarships than any other senior class we've ever had at our school. And a lot of it was because they could sit down, they could talk about app development, they could talk about all of these concepts that are shaping our world. And believe it or not, even some college students don't get exposed to this even to their junior or senior year at all, or until they get into the business world. So we think that really makes it unique and powerful, because I hate to say we're actually teaching, but we're really teaching a lot of very important things under the context of project-based learning. Project-based learning is not, and I've done a lot of this on my podcast, the 10-Minute Teacher Show. We've been talking a lot lately about the difference between project-based learning and projects. You know, projects tend to be like the dessert, like I learned this and now I'm going to make a diorama. Okay, give me a break. Okay, you already learned it, and now you're showing me you learned it, and why? You know, do you really need to know how to make a diorama? This is, I am learning as I am creating, because the very first day as we start, the kids will say, I don't know how to create an app. I can't do this project. And I'm like, the project is to help you learn how to create an app and how to collaborate and how to do all these things. And we'll give you these things as you need them. We're going to give you these things as we go. We're going to teach you as we go, because the project is your learning. And you can see this Trello board is part of that. Now, we deal with a lot of very tough topics. You can see an app trailer here from the Enough app. This was actually on domestic violence. And this trailer, it's kind of funny because the little pieces of the project have a life of their own. Sometimes we'll have a video go viral, and sometimes we'll have a lot of people download an app. And sometimes a lot of people will share a website. So they're actually creating app trailers. They're creating websites. They're creating a social media campaign. They're creating all of these pieces. And this particular app trailer has been used by many people around the world to promote some issues with domestic violence. In this case, one of the biggest issues with domestic violence is getting people to actually leave because you can't get somebody help as long as they're in a circumstance. It's a very powerful video, and we show it all over the place. And it was created as part of their app project called Enough. And we love that one. So we do hit some tough topics. Now, this is from 2 years ago, and you can see, now our winning app from 2 years ago was actually Uncut. Uncut was an app to try to help kids have healthy alternatives to self-harm. And it was a very, I hate to even use the term edgy because it kind of doesn't fit with cutting, because it's such a harmful, hard thing. And honestly, when the kids proposed this app, it scared us, and we were afraid of it, and it made us very nervous, and we had a lot of hard conversations, sometimes tear-filled. But I will tell you this, I had a student who actually said working on this app saved their life, because she was having trouble and hadn't told anybody, and had joined this team and was able to come out and say, this is a problem for me. And by the end, she said, being on this app actually saved my life. And it was a hard topic. I won't say I liked the topic because, if you're not in it, it's hard to understand. But I think that's the point. It's not about stuff we like as teachers. This is about being real in the students' world. It's about doing stuff that matters to them. And sometimes we have to set aside our conditions, our thoughts, and we have to get in their world. And to do that, the global projects that we do should not be teacher-centered. They should be student-centered. And I'm really excited that we got to help start the day today, because you're going to hear so many great presentations today. But I would just ask, that is the project student-centered? Now, here are some screenshots from our Shark Tank from 2017, where we took pictures and all the kids are presenting online. And, look at just the beautiful faces and all of the different people that worked together. And they were so excited. They had so much fun. And they're presenting online and trying to get their apps into the store. And I would say this, I watched America's Got Talent last night, and somebody used the word loser, and I was like, gosh, could you really be a loser and make it that far in that competition? And I kind of feel the same way. I feel like every single kid who makes an app, the way that MadLearn works is they have something called the Mad Store, and you can enter the code and see all of these apps. So it's viewable on a phone. So kids could do interviews for college scholarships and say, okay, here's my app. Even if it wasn't live on the official store, it's on the Mad Store. So you can look and see the apps. And the other thing I love is that as they're making changes, they hit a button, they publish, they look on their phones, and there's the app, and there's everything that they've done. And again, here are more happy pictures. We do a lot like we're doing right now in Zoom, and connecting with the kids all over the world and doing things.
Thank you so much, Vicki. Thank you for sharing with us, and your perspective is so powerful, not only because you've done so many other global projects in the past, but because you've been an absolute inspiration and a wonderful partner to work on this with. And folks, please do, if there's any questions that you have for Vicki or for us, please do post them in the chat. We'd be happy to address those. What we're looking at here are some of our finalists and our top 3 winners, actually, from 2017. The project runs, and we'll talk about this in just a second, but the project runs from December, where the teachers start meeting in December, and they start their introductions in December, through May of the following year. So it's a spring semester project that runs the spring semester here in the United States. And I know many of our schools who are international and in other parts of the world start school at different times. So we adjust and we coordinate based on the schools that are participating. I know last year we had Australia and Paraguay that started in February. So we just made sure we could incorporate all of the things that we needed to do based on timelines. But these were some really powerful apps from this year. Vicki talked about Brave a little bit. Social Status is one of my favorites. It's an app that was created by a team of students, again, from across the world, who wanted to help students get on and use social media safely and better. So it actually teaches you how to figure out which social media outlet is the right one for you based on what it is that you'd like to do. So very, very useful app, very much something created by students for students. Again, please do check these out. This is the Mad Store. It is the web version of Mad Store. If you go to our website, mad-learn.com, you will see the Mad Store right there. You can click on it and scroll through. But the better and most exciting way to look at student apps is through your phone. So Mad Store is a free app available on iTunes and Google Play. If one of us can maybe throw those download links into the chat, that would be great. But you can download this free app and click on any of the apps that you see to see and use an app just as the student intended it to be used and created it. Phenomenal examples from across the years, and we'd love for you to take a look at it and share ideas with us, share some things with us that you're seeing or that you're excited about after seeing student work. The timeline that I talked about just briefly is in January, we have our teacher and student kickoffs that happen. Again, this depends on the schools that are participating around the globe, but typically January, February is when we'll have our student and teacher handshakes. In April and May, we do our app development. We create our teams. We do the red light, green light, yellow light. They build our apps, and in May, they're ready to actually do the Shark Tank and present that virtually. We invite sharks from around the world to be present virtually, just like this, and kids come and they pass the mic off across borders. So if I'm sitting here in Atlanta and somebody else is sitting in Ghana that's on my team, I would say, hi, I'm Alethea from so-and-so app team, and I'm going to introduce you to my partner so-and-so who's in Ghana on my team. So they kind of pass off in really exciting ways. And then after the winners are announced in May, we publish those apps onto the iTunes and Google Play Store as the winning apps for that year. So very, very exciting to see what's possible there. One of the things that Vicki touched on just a little bit that has been a very exciting opportunity for students is to really understand the role of team structure and the role that each individual plays on a particular team. Many of us only experience this for the first time when we get our first job and we're working on the first team as an adult. But these high school kids are now having an opportunity to vote for and select a project manager, an assistant project manager, or raise their hand and say, I want to be the designer, I want to be the tester. So they're understanding different roles within a team and what the responsibilities are of those particular roles. Oftentimes those are changed around during the team as the semester goes. Sometimes they're consistent and it's the same person start to finish, but it is a very, very strong leadership exercise for students to really have an experience leading a team. And Vicki, I don't know if you're here at the present moment, but I know you had shared with me a wonderful story of your kids who had things on their college applications that was to the effect of project manager of a global app development team or designer of a global app development team. And that's the kind of experiences that we're able to provide to students, and we're hoping that you all can participate in this year's cohort because it has been a wonderful experience for the students and the teachers, and we hope you can be a part of it. You can see here on the slide, and we're happy to send these to you as well after our webinar. There are many components from a curriculum integration perspective that exist with a project like Mad About Mattering. There's writing, there's actual computer science app programming that we're doing, there's project manager and assistant project manager leadership skills, there is the Genius Hour social entrepreneurship element, of course collaboration, how to present online, digital filmmaking, web design. These are just a few. There's many, many more components that come into creating this project into a good, solid whole. Is this hard work? Yes. Is this worth doing? Yes. Is it what I consider the best global project in the world? Absolutely. And given that Vicki has done so many of these projects and she's helped us craft this and lead this in such a wonderful way, this was great for us to hear as a strong global project that she feels so good about and that we've seen such great work happen with. So one of the things that we have done just a few weeks ago, we started applications for Mad About Mattering 2018. So we're currently forming and accepting applications for next year's cohort. If you are interested, or if you know another teacher or another school that may be a good candidate to participate in this project, please do go to our website. It's madaboutmattering.com. You'll learn a lot more about the project there and also have an opportunity to apply if this is something that you're interested in. We are accepting applications, I believe, until the end of November, but please do apply as soon as you can, because as spots fill up, we will need to close application sooner. So at this point, I'd love to actually turn over to any things that we have on our mind as ideas or additional questions that we have about the project. We would love to answer those for you and help us grow the project even further.
Can you share about the online presentation? That's my favorite part, when the kids get to present in front of the judges and what the judges learn from it.
So they log in from all over the world, wherever their classroom is, wherever their work is happening. They log into a room just like this, and they are meeting each other in this virtual way. When we do our Shark Tanks, kids are they typically will set up a nice backdrop with their school logo and they'll wear some school gear. But our sharks log in the same way as well. So the first year we did this project, we had folks from the U.S. Department of Education. We had the head of Microsoft Education, the head of Amazon Education. We had some really amazing folks that dialed in just like this from their computer, wherever they were, and they were hearing students pitch and present their apps. And the way that students would do that is, and just as an example, if I'm on a team and Kimberly and Doreen are on my team as well, we're in 3 different parts of the world, but we're all talking about and presenting the same slides. So somebody's clicking through the slides and we're all talking about and presenting and pitching our app idea and the app that we did build. So very powerful learning experience for our students to understand how to communicate with people that are in different time zones, that are not right there in front of you. It's easy to knock on somebody's door or tap somebody on the shoulder and say, hey, I need your help. Let's figure this out. It's a whole nother level of learning to see and be able to do that virtually. And I see that we have our team in Delhi that is on as well. And this is something that we do constantly. We're always learning how to work virtually. And it is something that we need to learn as adults as well. But imagine how great that can be when we can have our high school students learn that at the high school level.
Olivia, I'd just like to add a few. I just want to say last year's project was incredible. I might say that watching these students interact and evolve throughout the stages of the project and seeing the joy and excitement on their faces as they met each other face to face was just incredible. The energy was positive. Everyone was excited. The apps made were amazing from these students. Seeing them collaborate and come out with these apps was just the highlight of my experience with Mad About Mattering. And I'd like to say that absolutely Mad About Mattering is worth taking part in. So if you have the opportunity, I'd love for you to just be part of it and join the excitement that comes with the project. It's just heartwarming to see how these students come together to create such amazing apps. That's what I want to say.
Thank you, Doreen. That's wonderful. And Doreen has been a wonderful backbone of the project. Lisa and Doreen are our project managers to make sure all of our teachers are coming together, things are organized, things are moving along in the right way that they need to move. Lisa, you've seen this since day one. We'd love for you to share a little bit about what you've seen.
I've seen the first project was great, really was. But then the second one came along, we got more global collaboration. I really appreciated that. Having worked with Vicki for so long on global projects, to see this actually blossom and spread. And so I'm hoping that this year we can have even more of that.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much for sharing. And it can give you the opportunity to go check out the website, apply, send it to some teachers that you think would be interested in as well. And we're happy to answer any questions that you have. Yes, Kimberly.
I just wanted to share the benefits from the teachers. We had one teacher from Paraguay beg. He started late, and he was actually the best cheerleader. And the way we had gotten this particular teacher was just what Alethea said, from sharing, because his brother was participating, not in this, but just the regular Mad Learn in Canada, and he wanted to be able to do it in Paraguay. And so the teachers, we have 1 hour a week that the teachers meet just like we're meeting, but all through the week they were kind of communicating back and forth. And I saw a couple on Slack. We have a Slack channel that they were doing even through the summer, and they've been tweeting at each other. And every one of the teachers, because we had a survey, said that they really appreciated kind of the PD and working directly with Vicki Davis. And so the teachers had just as much of it. We talk about the student benefit, but being an educator for 30 plus years, I tell you, there was tremendous teacher benefit.
Thank you for sharing that. We did see amazing evolution and growth amongst our teachers as well throughout the semester. And that is personally my favorite piece of it as well, because we were able to hopefully change those perspectives of teachers and help students and more students and hundreds and thousands of students over the years. So we're very, very excited about that. Well, we will go ahead and adjourn our webinar today. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Really appreciate the time that you spent with us. Please let us know if you have any questions as you look through Mad About Mattering further. We're happy to help. Happy to help brainstorm a different version of this that may make more sense with your classroom or with your district, and hopefully you can participate this year. So please do check out our website, apply when you get a chance, and if you have any questions, I'm posting an email address here in the chat. It's Doreen, D-O-R-E-E-N, at mad-learn.com. She can help answer any questions that you may have about the project. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining, and happy Global Collaboration Day once again. Take care. Bye-bye.